Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Three at the Back podcast, unlocking FPL success with stats, data, and expert analysis. I'm your host, Darren, and as always, I'm joined by my good buddies Scott, aka FPL Metal, Heavy Metal on X, and Paul. Boys, how are you doing?
It's not just on X. I've got that on my name badge at work as well.
Endorsing. Like it.
Yeah, that must be confusing when the likes of Jermaine Genus and Jermaine Pennant walk in for their golf clubs.
That's how they know me, mate. That's how I roll.
Who's this guy?
Yeah.
We need to get
getting the missus to call me by it, but she's not having any of it. Shut up.
How you doing, Paolo?
I'm glad for the international break. I never thought I'd say that, but
Oof.
FPL I feel like is already trying to kill me off because last week for me was
3 weeks in.
Last week was absolutely tragic.
Yeah.
So I'm glad for it. Give me some time to think about what I'm going to do.
You're the choices in life.
Controversial. I think you will be one of the only people out there that are desperate for the international break to come around. But I understand the sentiment. I think last week was tough for a lot of people. I think I was looking at the global average just before the Palace game kicked off, and I think it was something like 28 points, the global average. And then, of course, the Palace game happened, and then bonus points got added, and I think that the global average ended up around about 45 points. So yeah,
it's still low. That's a low week. Anything lower than 60 is a poor week.
It's nearly double what I got. So, I would have took that.
You're dragging that global average down on your own.
Yeah, it was tough.
I mean, if it wasn't for Lucas Paqueta and Malik Diouf, I would have been right there with you, mate.
You're so spawny.
Over 60% of my points last week came from 2 West Ham assets. Who'd have thought?
Who'd have thought?
Sickening.
Mm-hmm. What was it you said the other night? It's typical Darren.
So typical.
Yeah, I'll take it.
And on the back of a killer week, apparently his wild card is for next week. Typical Darren.
Yeah, rumour has it. We'll get into that wildcard team next week, though, when we're discussing game week 4. This week, though, we are discussing game week 3. We're going to highlight a couple of games that were, that we felt like were worthy of highlighting for various different reasons. Some of them high scoring, some of them not. There's some different assets in there that we wanted to highlight and whether or not they're worth sticking with going forward, or if there are assets in there that maybe people aren't picking up on that need to be in your FPL teams. We'll also do a quick review of the deadline day transfers as well, and actually just transfers over the summer in general. It's been a big transfer window for a number of Premier League clubs. I think we're creeping on, or probably have broken the all-time summer spend window. It's at over £3.5 billion spent across the 20 Premier League teams this summer, which is pretty crazy when you think about it.
Yeah, it's crazy funds, isn't it? Crazy money.
Yeah, absolutely.
Insane.
And actually, arguably, in a period of time where over the last 2 or 3 seasons, a number of different clubs have been penalised for, stretching beyond their means, but doesn't look like that's slowing down in any way, shape, or form.
Isn't there a big shiny new TV rights that they've all just been privy to sign in?
Yeah.
I've played a part.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that definitely would have played a part, 100%. Is this the new Sky Sports TNT deal that you're talking about? Interesting. Yeah. I'm surprised that the Netflix and the Primes and the Apple TVs of the world haven't come in yet, but I'm sure that's just around the corner as well. Anyway, yeah, let's get into it. We will go through the results as they were over the weekend, and as I say, we'll dig into some of the more interesting games, or what we deemed as interesting games anyway. So we kicked off on Saturday with Chelsea versus Fulham 2-0. Manchester United beat Burnley 3-2. Sunderland coming back late into the game 2-1 for their second win of the season. 1-0 Bournemouth against Tottenham in a form guide reversal. 3-2 Wolves, and a bit of a board draw with Leeds versus Newcastle.
We haven't highlighted that game. Sorry,
No.
Leeds and Newcastle fans.
Yeah, sorry about that. Heading into Sunday, it was a shock result again with Brighton versus Man City, although maybe it wasn't that much of a shock looking at last season's form for City as well. Another reversal on the form guide, West Ham beating Nottingham Forest 3-0, and actually looking really good value for it as well. I know all the goals came late in the day, but as I say, we'll dig into it in a little bit, and just to say that the writing was probably on the wall long before the 80th minute. Liverpool beating Arsenal 1-0. We were discussing this a little bit pre-recording and saying how the game definitely needed a little bit of magic to unlock it, or to stop it from being a 0-0 draw, and we certainly got that. And then finished up with Palace 3, Aston Villa 0 to make it 14 games unbeaten for Palace, Scott. It's their longest unbeaten run in the Premier League history. Yeah, so yeah, interesting. Some interesting results there. Just a little graphic there as well. The overall summer transfer spending by the big 5 leagues in Europe and Saudi Pro League as well. Traditionally, the big spenders over the last 2 or 3 seasons, but not competing with the Premier League in terms of transfer deals this time around.
Well, that graphic looks like you could have had Serie A, Bundesliga, La Liga, and Ligue 1 added together, and that's only going to just pretty much hit what we spent in, which is nuts, isn't it?
It is absolutely crazy. I think I saw that it was the Premier League represented something like 46% of entire European expenditure. So
wow.
if you did add all those up, I think it would only be slightly above. But yeah, it's absolutely wild that a single league in Europe has collectively spent £3.5 billion on transfers since when, because they had like a mini window for the Club World Cup. So was it like the 1st of June? So across the last 3 months, basically £3.5 billion has been spent.
Yeah, Sunderland had a bigger net spend than any other club in those top 5 leagues.
Wow.
Well, it's a show, doesn't it? The newly promoted. Yeah,
it shows the power of the Premier League. Just I think in that little start alone, really.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. You mentioned just a short while ago that the new TV deals that are being sort of bandied around. I think that's giving teams confidence that they can go out and spend this kind of money because they know that what's coming down the pipeline. But I guess that's only guaranteed if you survive, right? So, yeah,
that's what they're spending it for.
Yeah, that's the team. That's why the teams like Sunderland are spending the money that they are to try and stay in and hope that money comes down the pipeline for them. Let's dig into one of our the first game that we're doing a bit more of a deeper analysis on for game week 3 is Chelsea versus Fulham. Game ended 2-0. Enzo Fernandez with the penalty, seeing him at the top of the expected goals chart there.
So I brought in João Pedro. We got news that Palmer wasn't playing.
Yeah,
so I drafted in Pedro for the penalties, and then I couldn't believe it. Enzo stood. I was like, "What are you doing?" I was going to do one of those ones where he just like hands the ball over at the last second. It never happened. I was gutted. I mean, do we think Enzo is on penalties? Because I would have bet my mortgage, my house, that Pedro would be on them.
I mean, he was on penalties previously, or there was definitely like it was between him and Palmer on the field, wasn't it, last season?
Yeah,
because I think people.
I would say he's probably number 1 choice. I would have thought, but yeah, like you say, Pedro had penalty taking duties when he was at Brighton, so you would have thought, being a striker, he would have come in and gone, they're mine. I guess Enzo, being a big man in that dressing room, I would have thought, has probably said, no, thank you.
Well, he took it well.
Yeah.
Taker.
But see why. But wasn't that where Enzo, because I know there was a lot of discussion about having Enzo Fernandez in your team last season, and people got burnt by the fact that he wasn't getting minutes and stuff like that. But because he was like 6.5 million or 6 million or whatever, and everyone was going like, great value pick. He'll be on penalties. Obviously, that transpired that wasn't the case because Palmer had the majority of them. But again,
last year he was playing deep, wasn't he? He was playing on like a holding role, and when Caicedo came in, he was allowed to push forward. And this season he's just playing that further bit forward. I mean, he's a great asset. I just can't get behind having him in my team now because I just think he's just so uninteresting.
A little bit biased.
Yeah.
So far, he's been a cracking asset this season. That's for sure.
Yeah, he got a goal and assist in the last 2 games.
Yeah.
Goal and assist in the last 2 games, 6.5 million on penalties. And you can see there as well, he's at the top of the chances created as well. So he's well amongst it. So yeah, definitely could be a switch to make. Maybe Palmer to Fernandez is
you've triggered the wild card, Darren. It's
You tell us.
Yeah.
I mean, he's made the cut for me is all I'm going to say. So right now my wild card team does include Fernandez and Pedro. They are in my squad as it stands.
So who watched this game? Paul, I know you watched it.
Yeah.
And you got an opinion on that, on the disallowed goal for Fulham, which seemed a bit controversial.
Yeah. It's one of those where how modern refereeing is done now. I watch games and I second guess my own opinion. That's how bad it's become. Because when I first watched it, I've gone, nah, never. He's spun on the ball to control it, and his planted foot has landed on Chalobah as he's come in to try and tackle him. Completely accidental.
It's Josh King.
It was Muniz who controlled it.
Yeah.
And then, obviously that was on the halfway line, and then it led through to Josh King scoring his, first goal for Fulham in the Premier League. And obviously, a great moment for him gets tainted by such a trivial thing. And again, I've seen a lot of people say it's a definite foul. He's planted his foot on him and, he's caught him. But, surely the idea of a foul is that there's intent.
Mm-hmm.
Like if we're giving everything for accidents, like we might as well just say it's a non-contact sport at that point.
Yeah, because he's just shielding the ball from the player that he feels coming in from the side, right? He hasn't intended to do anything. And
he's it's not like he's put his foot down or put his foot out to be reckless in any way, or endanger the opponent who's coming in to tackle him.
Yeah,
there's nothing like that.
No,
not like Adebayor in the past when he had his foot quite high and came down on an opponent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just unfortunate where his foot was planted in this instance.
I just think that like the difficulty and where the controversy comes from is that the ref didn't pick up on it in play.
Mm-hmm.
For me, he hasn't missed anything clear and obvious necessarily. Obviously, it's a brilliant touch and turn, and yes, he's trodden on the foot and moved off, and then that's obviously then led to the pass that's led to the goal.
So are they ruling that Chalobah would have made the tackle without that intervention? Is that how they disallowed it?
No,
they said it was trying to remember the wording. It was basically a poor time. They were trying to say it was a reckless challenge, but with no malice, basically, is how they kind of classed it. And obviously, in this instance, it got ruled a day later that VAR should have never got involved because
they come out and
it's not a clear and obvious error.
Yeah,
and that's the thing, that I think that frustrates people like us, where we watch that game in real time. The referee is on the pitch in real time.
He was right next to it as well. So
doesn't pick up on it.
Doesn't see it.
Doesn't see it as a foul, or just doesn't see it in totality. Nothing clear and obvious really about it. In fact, actually, even on the replays, it looked fairly innocuous, even of itself. But just the fact that the VAR have got involved, but B, the referee's then gone over to has gone over to the monitor to watch it back, like different angles, slow-mo and all that, and that's a different discussion even of itself. But even to be able to watch it back, have the ability to watch it back, and then judge that to be worthy of a foul and a disallowed goal, it's just absolutely crazy to me. And there's other decisions in other games that we will talk about later on in the episode where the same is true as well. And I put it in our group chat as well. I think it's absolutely wild that these guys are in charge of officiating our game. They're being paid probably somewhere in the region of £50,000 to £60,000 a year, and they just can't get the most simple decisions correct, or at least as we're seeing it play out. And then they make that decision on the field, and your head is in your hands of like, how have they come to that conclusion?
So was Munez booked for it?
No.
Nope.
No.
It
So
was
it's not
deemed a
deemed a
non-bookable
bookable
offence
offence.
because he hadn't done it with intent.
So it's a foul, but wasn't yellow carded, so it's not deemed a booking, but deemed foul enough to disallow a goal.
Yeah,
It doesn't make any sense, does it?
It was a foul in the lead up to the goal. What would have been interesting is if King had like broken through, that ball had gone through, King's one-on-one with the keeper, and he puts it into row Z. Are we talking about it being a foul then? Does VAR get involved then? No, absolutely not.
They only get involved for red cards and goals, didn't they?
But so yeah, and I get that I get that that's why they've got involved, because it was a goal. But the point, I guess it's that argument that like if it's a foul outside the box, then it's a foul. But if the same thing happened inside the box and they don't give a penalty, then like what's the difference? You know what I mean? Like it was a foul enough to scrub the goal because a goal was scored. But if King hadn't scored, we wouldn't even be talking about this. It was so innocuous, it was so unintentional, and it wasn't even bookable.
So we're all in agreement that was the wrong call, yeah?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Wild, crazy.
Well, like I
Changed the
say,
game,
I
didn't it?
second guess myself completely because 1 minute I'm like, is it a foul? Are they right? I think that's VAR just make you unsure on the whole thing because you see so many of these type of decisions happened, and then also, you know, Silva must have been spitting feathers at half time because 7 minutes are added on because of that VAR decision. They have a corner which is defended for another corner. It goes into the 98th minute. You're thinking, blow it. The corner's just happened. They've just missed. It's just blocked. The time's elapsed. Blow it. He lets the corner play out, and they score from the corner. So again, another minute gets added onto the time from what I don't know. If I'm Fulham, I'm spitting feathers at those decisions because again, it completely flips the whole script of the game. And of course, again, Chelsea grind out, get their penalty of their own, and go on, valuable winners in the second half. So it's just, Fulham just must feel slightly aggrieved of the whole affair
For sure.
Which, if I remember rightly from watching the game as well, like the Chelsea penalty was soft as well, really, wasn't it? When you look at the
was soft. It probably
minimal
was a
amount of
penalty, but
contact
it was very soft. And again, I'm just fuming at all you Cucurella owners getting your clean sheets, to be honest.
Is there any other assets there that we should be highlighting from?
Obviously, the main one is João Pedro. He seems to have gone into that Chelsea team and, like a duck to water, just really, really taken off. And obviously, with Liam Delap now out injured, Mark Guy's gone back to rock on the bench.
Yeah, if you got him in your teams, he's had a price drop. You got to sell him now. I mean, he's never going to see minutes in Chelsea shirt.
So
No.
I think João Pedro. I'm just gutted I didn't take the -4 to get him in.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point to highlight there, Scott, as well, about Mark Guy as well. Like as soon as he was recalled to Chelsea, you just saw that waves of people transferring him out of the team, which has triggered a price drop. And of course, as we know, with the current assets that are available, 4.4 is impossible to recover from, and
Proper screws you over.
almost certainly looks like he'll drop again to 4.3 as well as more and more people transfer him out. So yeah, if you're watching this now and he's still in your team, get him gone right away, and try and make some sort of move to cover your bases with that one. Okay, cool. I mean, I think that we've covered off that game, and its more kind of controversial moments and the assets that were worth picking up on that. Just actually, just on Josh King. Obviously, we mentioned there that he's nailed down that number 10 position for Fulham. 4.5 million on FPL.
He is. I'm not sure he's now down that position. They've made a couple of signings close to the end of the window that could put his role at jeopardy. A couple of strikers, a couple of wingers. I'm not sure he'll get continuous minutes in that position.
Yep. Is that was it? You said pre-recording, Scott. We need to talk about Kevin. Yeah.
We do.
We'll do that. We'll do that later.
Onto Kev.
Yeah. Arguably, game of the weekend for me. Manchester United versus Burnley ended 3-2 for Manchester United, but my God, did they not make hard work of it?
Well, who'd have thought that?
Yeah,
everyone transferred in all their players. Cunha and Mbeumo highly brought in. I mean, this is the state of United, isn't it? I mean, they've spent a lot of money and they still have the eternal problems. They just can't seem to kill off these teams. They haven't got it in them, and they let Burnley back in. Burnley didn't deserve it, to be honest. They were pretty ropey, but United just can't kill these teams off, and it's going to be a repeat season on season. Every game, I think this season they're going to look very, very similar to what they did last year.
It just feels like whoever is facing them fancies their chances. They seem to get up for the big games. The Man United in the big games seem to perform 10 times better. I don't know what it is, but I've seen them play us multiple times, and they don't look like this side when they play us, when they play City or even Liverpool to an extent over the last couple of seasons. But against these type of teams, they go there and fancy their chances. And Burnley went nowhere near it in that first half. Man United absolutely peppered them.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the same old story. Plenty of chances, plenty of shots, but the ball isn't hitting the back of the net. And that's despite their new assets. And
the big money centre forward sat on the bench.
It's going to take time. It is going to take time, for them to settle in and so on and so forth. But writing on the wall for Amorim already, it shouldn't be the case, really.
Well, Cunha, I mean, Darren will explain. He captained Cunha. What did he last? 20 minutes?
Oh, sickener.
He looks like he's out for a few weeks now.
Yeah, I think it was early on in the first half, wasn't it? Hamstring injury was the report.
But strangely enough, we mentioned a few weeks ago that the problem for United, they haven't got a central midfield holder. They didn't buy one. Now Cunha's missing. Do they then push Bruno back into the 10? Bring Casemiro and Ugarte as the holders in a funny way. It might actually unlock United, because we've said before that you can't not have Bruno in your team, but he's a number 10. So in an odd way, this might actually show Amorim that one of the big money boys wasn't necessary. Because I think when I watch United, I can't see Cunha and Fernandes working together. They're too similar. They're still dropping into the same sort of pockets and spaces and things. So this might actually prove something that Cunha may be surplus.
I think what was interesting about this particular game, though, with that in mind, and obviously looking at that graphic there at the top of your screen. So yes, you're right. Fernandes did start in that deeper role next to Casemiro, but it was Mbeumo and Mount that started in that 10 position, and Cunha started as the number 9. Now, when Cunha went down injured, I'm sure there were Shesko owners out there absolutely licking their lips, thinking that, okay, Shesko's in here, he's going to get 70 solid minutes or 60 solid minutes, and we're on here to see what Shesko can do. But it was Joshua Zirkzee that was the preferred replacement, which I found a little bit odd, actually, that you've got a 65, 70 million pound striker sat on your bench, and you've got the unfavoured man from seasons past, 70 solid minutes, and you've got the 60 solid minutes. And you've got the unfavoured man from seasons past, 70 solid minutes. And you've got the unfavoured man from seasons past, 70 solid minutes. And you've got the unfavoured man from seasons past, 70 solid minutes. And you've got the unfavoured man from seasons past, 70 solid minutes. And you've got the unfavoured man from seasons past, 70 solid minutes. And you've got the unfavoured man from seasons past, 70 solid minutes. And you've got the unfavoured man from seasons past, 70 solid minutes. And you've got the unfavoured man from seasons past, 70 solid minutes. And you've got the unfavoured man from seasons past, 70 solid minutes. And you've got the unfavoured man from seasons past, 70 solid minutes. And you've got the unfavoured man from seasons past, 70 solid minutes. And you've got the unfavoured man from seasons past, 70 replacing your new signing at number 9. It just seemed a bit weird.
Very weird.
Yeah, it's almost as if Amarin didn't choose him.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'd like to see when Sesko's going to get his minutes, because he's going to need them to find his confidence, because clearly he's struggling with confidence going in there, which is a little bit surprising. But he's going to need the minutes to really find his feet. And if he isn't going to get them, then that's a lot of money to spend on someone to warm the bench.
Well, Darren's right, because if he needs minutes to get his fitness up, then coming on for the last 70 minutes against Burnley is the perfect opportunity for Amarin to knock turns at him. Yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe there's other reasons behind that.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's I think you're absolutely right though, Scott. I think this is a perfect opportunity to push Fernandes further up the pitch, but again, it just looks like Amarim's preferring Mason Mount in that position as well. And I mean, he's done well. He's done well for it, and actually probably brings us on to another controversial VAR decision that happened in that game as well. Mount threw on goal, pushed in the back. There was no attempt in my mind to play the ball. He's gone down in the penalty box. Original decision by the referee was penalty. VAR got involved. I thought at the time that it was just outside the box. Maybe there was a conversation to be had of whether or not actually it should have been a free kick or a penalty. Referee goes to the screen. He comes back and makes a decision that it wasn't a foul in the first place. But again, I just look back at that moment. I look back at those images and that replay, and I'm like, it almost definitely is a foul. Yes, it's questionable.
So in that instant, did Mount get booked for diving?
Nope.
Then what's he pulling it back for?
I don't know. This is the thing. I think absolutely, like, VAR have got, from my mind, VAR have got involved because they want the referee to have a look and say, actually, we don't think it's a penalty. It looks like the foul's taken place outside the box. Which, again, you look at the footage, you go, okay, yeah, like, that's a reasonable conversation to have. Let's go and have a look at the monitor. But for him to then come away from that and go, no, actually, it's not a free kick, it's not a penalty, it's not even a foul, when it absolutely was. It was a clear shove in the back, no attempt to play the ball. I just don't understand, again, what the communication between VAR and the referee on the field was in that moment.
What about the penalty later on that was given? Any arguments for that?
No, absolutely joke. Laughable. Should never have been a penalty at all. And again, it's just that really weird thing of, like, it feels like the ref has just balanced up
A mistake.
Yeah, he's balanced up his earlier balls up. He's seen the player go down and gone, oh, fucking hell, thank God I'm off the hook here because I ballsed it in the first half.
Yeah, I felt the penalty was a little bit dubious. Obviously, the initial contact with the shirt pull is starting outside the box. Granted, he's still got a little bit of the shirt going into the box. Is it enough to put him down?
Nah.
Again, like you say, if you're going to chance it by holding the shirt while it goes into the box, there's always going to be an opportunity that's given as a penalty.
I think it's the motion as well. And again, like, the ref's gone to the screen, he's reviewed it.
Ahmad was definitely looking for it, put it that way.
Oh, absolutely. 100%. 100%. He's felt a little tug on his shirt and he's got jelly legs all of a sudden. Like, it just infuriates me, if you couldn't tell. And again, it's like the referee comes on and now he's got to do this PA system thing, which is brilliant because it informs the fans of the reason why the decision is changing and the reason why it's being made. But in my mind, in that game, they got it wrong twice and it's enraged people even more. Just the language used as well. A prolonged holding of the opposition shirt. And it's like, just say that he pulled his shirt and that it's a foul. Yeah, it just really annoys me.
Anything prolonged was the time it took VAR to make the bloody decision.
Yeah. Absolutely.
If it was just a pull, Darren, it would have been a free kick.
Yeah,
that's
right.
True.
Yeah.
Or if it, or
the wording of prolonged is the only reason they can give it as a penalty.
Just
because the initial foul was outside the box.
But then Bruno Fernandes missed a penalty the other week. Steps up this time, buries it. He hit DEFCON as well. I know lots of managers that had him captain as well for this week, and that's the reason why you have players like in your FPL teams, because he can do anything. DEFCON penalties. He created 6 chances in that game as well. From that deep line position.
Again, it does seem to be a little bit of a running trend so far this season of players not playing that great and getting returns. I've seen a few times now where
you're talking about Salah,
assists, goals. Yeah, Salah's right up there. But yeah, Bruno's always involved. I think that's the positive thing for him, for Man United. But again, their form is so up and down. That's my only skepticism about having Man United assets. If you're free hitting that week, which a lot of people were, great, jump all over them. Like, there was the perfect opportunity but to have them long term, that's my main concern with Man United, is how can I invest? Was it 8.5, 9 mil? I can't remember exactly, Bruno.
Bruno's 9.
Yeah, it's 9.
Yeah,
now,
9 mil on someone that, you never know when he's going to return. The DEFCON points he seems very reliable for.
Yeah, because I think that's...
But 9 million for DEFCON, I'll get Anderson in something like that. Saying that, poor old Anderson. He's got 11 for the first 3 game weeks. He's missed it by 1 every week.
I think on that, Bruno's got it every week so far, though, hasn't he? Is he 3 from 3?
No, 2 for 3.
2 from 3.
2 from 3. Okay.
Yeah, he missed the first week, but he was close. He was a couple off.
It's probably worth mentioning as well. I think, correct me if I'm misremembering this, did Fernandes miss in the shootout against Grimsby as well?
No,
it was Cunha and Burma in this penalties.
Okay. Right. So he's all right then. He's 2 from...
His penalty record is sound, Bruno.
No, I know it is. I'm just saying that, like, had it, for some reason it was in my mind that he'd missed in the shootout. So 1 from 3 is not so good, but 2 from 3 is
well.
Is all right.
This time the referee didn't try and take his legs out as he was walking back to set up.
Yeah, steered well clear this time, didn't they? Going into, I would say, arguably probably the shock result of the weekend, if I'm honest.
Definitely.
West Ham 3.
Result of the season so far. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Nottingham Forest.
If any FPL players had West Ham players in the starting 11 on purpose, what are you...
Darren,
this guy...
In what world? For what reason?
I know.
This guy did.
Unless you've got...
No form to go on.
Yeah, unless you've got £8 million put into Bowen just because, he's the only real asset they have. Jesus.
Yeah. I'll be totally honest. The Paqueta Juve thing is just a hangover from my game week 1. Yeah, it's game week 1 balls up. The fact that
well, it's not balls up, is it?
Not now. It's not. He's
not now. It's not
now. As a work genius.
Yeah. 2 out of 3 games I've had returns out of him. So
but to be fair, Paqueta has looked good. He's on penalties. He's the heartbeat of that midfield. I mean, he's looked decent, and he's had a price drop as well, 5.9.
Really weird, right? Because to get returns,
people ditch all their West Ham assets apart from you,
because they all had him in for the Sunderland game, right?
That's right. Game week 1. That's it. Exactly it. Yeah.
And then when they
failed,
how bad
they were.
Well, yeah, when they failed to do anything against Sunderland, they've ditched out, but actually then they've returned in game weeks 2 and 3.
And there's no form to go off for this result, other than the fact that Forest back in the last season, their defensive data and performances started to slip, and they've started this season in a similar sort of vein, conceding a lot of chances, and that sort of thing will catch up eventually. And I think West Ham just exploited them. You said at the beginning of this, so that West Ham thoroughly deserved it, and they did play very well.
Yeah. It was, again, it's the old football cliche. It was a tale of 2 halves, because it was all Forest in the first half. Lots of huffing and puffing, but no real...
They got no cutting edge,
no real edge, no real chances to go by. But they looked, a threat, if you like, and West Ham just dug in. And then, like you say, they similar story in the second half, but West Ham played with a little bit more freedom and got the goals that they deserved.
Yeah, I think that the telling stats there, though, for me is total shots taken by West Ham, 12, but 8 out of those shots, 8 out of those 12 were on target. 4 big chances created. Their XG outstripped Forest by a million miles. And that is probably very telling in terms of like Forest's performance. They just didn't. It didn't really look like scoring. There was maybe one or two big moments where they probably should have. I think Hudson-Odoi had a couple of decent chances to score.
Three according to stats.
Yeah. Well, the chances created. I mean, there was a moment where I think he should have probably buried it and scored for Forest. But yeah, I just looking at that game, I think, like you said, Paqueta looked really, really impressive playing in that number 10 role. It feels like it's because people thinking like Fulkrug was like the starting striker for West Ham, and he's the number 9, and he's the one that's going to be scoring the goals. But it feels like he's like the big man that Bowen and Paqueta are playing off of almost. So he might actually be either the pass before the assist, or he might actually get the assists as opposed to the goal. Feels like it's just the ball's being played into him, and he's laying it out to Paqueta and Bowen to come into the game.
They're the two flair players of the West Ham side. They haven't really got a lot else of flair other than those two. Fulkrug is a decent target man, isn't he? He's big and strong. Will hold it up, bring others into the play.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that like is exactly what's happening, I guess.
The one player I'd call out was I think it was his debut was Fernandes. Signed him from Southampton. Terson Fernandes, a very good attacking player, and he just gave him a little bit more impetus, a little more pace. He was more direct. He's got a physical nature about him as well, which I think suits West Ham stylistically. And he put himself about and looked very impressive.
And what about Forest? Because I know a lot of teams out there have double Forest defence, either the Sells or the two centre halves, or even Nico Williams, very popular, defending poorly.
So
Arsenal
far,
this week, is it?
So far, we've been massively duped. Obviously, we were all made to believe that Morello was going to be the DEFCON king. So far, he's been nowhere near it. Again, Milinkovic hasn't been a threat from set pieces so far that we saw last season. And they don't look as stable as they were. Like you say, it did flip towards the back end of the season when they were pushing for Europe and kind of run out of steam. But you'd think in new season, same Forest, stylistically, that's how they play anyway.
Well, the game was built off a strong defence, wasn't it? Hitting on the counter. And I think they finished with the 11th best defence last season, which probably isn't good enough to carry on trying to nick 1-0 wins with Chris Wood's only chance of the game. That's what there's hoping, isn't it?
0.2 XG.
Well, I mean, he can't repeat that. I mean, that was just a wonder season, wasn't it? But they got Arsenal next. Lots of people we wanted to sort of ditch those Forest defenders, but then they've got Sunderland and Burnley back to back. So if you do have Forest defenders, try and bench them this week. I would. And keep.
I was going to say it's got to be a rotation game. I think over the next 3 game weeks. I think if you've got Milinkovic or Williams or Morello or Sells or a combination of the two, Anderson even, I mean, Anderson versus Arsenal is quite enticing from a DEFCON perspective. Maybe he actually will get the DEFCON.
Well, I do lots of defending for sure. Yeah.
But I think it's going to be. I mean, certainly if you're expecting, clean sheets or bullet headers from Milinkovic, it's not happened so far. So maybe a little rotation game needs to be had, but certainly would be keeping hold of the assets for that Sunderland Burnley double header for sure. I will say though, Paul, because you highlighted Ndoi as a potential Palmer replacement in last week's episode. He looked pretty handy. He looked quite a tricky winger.
Yeah, from a Football League perspective, especially on the eye test, I really like him. His stats in Italy and in with Basel were brilliant. Good returns, goals and assists, and he's got it in his game. But my only drawback is he's been subbed around the 65th minute mark most games. And that's not something you want from an FPL asset. You want someone that's pretty reliable, pretty 90 minutes, almost guaranteed. So I would maybe keep an eye on him. I'd put him on the watch list, I guess would be my advice.
I suppose that's the difficulty that we've probably experienced, I would argue probably since COVID really, over the last sort of 4 or 5 seasons, the introduction of 4 and then 5 subs, like it's made FPL really, really difficult in terms of like getting those full 2 points, that full 60 minutes out of, pretty much all assets across FPL, really, because even when you look at some of the really more like established players at some of the bigger teams, and you're seeing them hooked at like 50, 55 minutes, like Kirkes and Frimpong was
But with the introduction of the DEFCON points, you've got to be on the pitch for 90 minutes to secure those points. There's hardly any players apart from Casado that are going to rack up those points in a shorter space of time than 60 minutes. I mean, he hit 23 this week.
It's wild.
It's insane.
Crazy, isn't it? But yeah, I mean, so 90-minute guys for the DEFCON contributions are vital. So if you're picking someone that's only playing for 65, you pretty much guarantee they're not going to hit them.
Yeah. I think Ndoye's obviously advantage in that perspective is that you would hope that he would be affecting the game from an offensive point of view. Like
I think anybody who's not guaranteed to get beyond the 70 minutes can't be an option for me.
Even if they're like a goal threat or an assist maker.
No, I mean, you look at Salah. How many goals he gets so late in the game because he's on the pitch. Look at Bruno Fernandes' penalty. You got to be on the pitch to affect it, and that goes for the entirety of the game for me.
Yep. Okay. Fair enough. Unless there's data or stats that suggest that there's quick starters out there.
Unless you're Ole Gunnar Solskjaer from back in the day and you come on and score 2 every time you come on. Yeah.
Anything more on the West Ham Forest game before we move on? Is there any assets there that we've missed that maybe we need to highlight?
Only a quick one on Bowen. He's looked lively. He's not playing as a striker. Although he's been reclassified, as he's still playing wider of full group, but still looks their main threat. So if you have him in your team, he's had a price drop. I would stick with him because he's always going to return.
Nice, and you still see value in him even at that striker position.
It's hard, isn't it? I mean, if West Ham go on a bit of a run now, then yes,
yeah.
But I think they're going to be inconsistent. So but he's not the sort of player you want to ditch early. He'll blank for a couple of weeks and then he'll return for 3 weeks in a row, and that's the sort of way he sort of accumulates his points.
I think that was the annoying thing about the reclassification, really, was that he's now not really eligible for DEFCON points, and the goals that he does score or contributes to, he's got the reduced points from that perspective as well, which I assume probably also affects his ability on the BPS side of things as well, right?
Of course, yeah.
Wild. Anyway. Because he was never a striker. I don't understand the classification.
Never a striker.
No. Liverpool versus Arsenal, 1-0 it ended, but in truth, it was a fairly drab game throughout. I think, Scott, you said pre-recording, it was definitely a heavyweight battle, wasn't it? It was just 2 heavyweight teams just slugging it out, trying to make something of it.
I like, from a neutral perspective, from a footballing highest elite level football game that you can get. I love these games because they're intriguing. They're like a chess match. Two coaches going at it, setting out to not lose the game. Systems that to contradict each other and cancel each other out in lots of ways. Arteta going there and knowing he can't go gung ho because he'll get picked off, and trusting his Arsenal backline because they're so strong. And Slot trying to sort of pick a way through that rear guard. And I mean, Paul must have said it 20 times during the game that it's going to take either a howler from one of the keepers, because Raya almost did it a couple of times with his passing, or an absolutely worldie of a goal, and that's what we got. And I said to Paul afterwards, I'd be reasonably happy if I was an Arsenal fan watching that game, because they controlled the game out of possession. They didn't concede a lot of chances to a Liverpool side that are rampant. So although the result went against them, I think the performance was quite encouraging in terms of them relying on their strengths, which is defence. I guess the negative is they bought some attacking players and didn't really do much the other end. Didn't really put Liverpool under a great deal of pressure. And I'm going to make it a weekly theme, I think, about Gyökeres. He's not overweight. He's just very heavy, isn't he? And he doesn't look particularly sharp at the minute. But yeah,
it's definitely going to take time.
It'll take time. Yeah, but a good game. I know it was a bit drab on the sort of action, but I was intrigued by it.
Yeah, it was certainly a tough watch from an Arsenal fan's perspective. I think the difficulty from my perspective is with all our signings, I was going in there as positive and upbeat as I've ever been. playing Liverpool at Anfield and as confident as I probably have ever been in a long time going to Anfield. And I was just disappointed that we didn't lay a glove on them, really. But again, as we spoke while watching it, they didn't lay a glove on us. So although Arsenal have come under criticism for being pragmatic and boring and you can't win titles if you don't go to games to win, they didn't have any chances. Raya didn't have any saves, even simply just looking at the XG. Look how close it is. You know, again, I don't like to use stats too much to override the eye test, but it was a very even game. I think we controlled certain elements of the game. I think Liverpool were much better in the second half than we were. And they found the one gap to get the foul to score the wonder goal. And that was the only real difference. You know, again, Gyökeres didn't look great, but, you know, you could say the same thing about Mo Salah. So
didn't look great. He's looked very off it the first 3 games.
You know, I think that for me in a nutshell is I guess the only positives I'm taking away from it is it was a very even game against a top side. And yeah, I guess if you've got assets from those teams, maybe not judge them from that one game.
But don't forget, you're also missing Saka, who's a massive loss for you.
Yeah, Saliba went off early. I think Mosquera looked very good because I think Saliba could be out for a couple of weeks now.
Yeah.
With that, I think, ankle injury.
Any positives from the Arsenal perspective, like performances? Who
I think Madueke stood out for me. I think he was very direct when he had the ball. I think I knew from the starting 11 how we set up to play. Having Mourinho in the centre midfield, you knew we were going to be compact. Having Martinelli instead of giving Eze a start, you know, there's no excuse that Eze's not fit because he's played for you guys to start this season, so he's ready. So he was definitely setting us up to try and stretch them on the break and be compact when we didn't have the ball. And you know, without that wonder goal, it worked.
Do you think Eze starts next week?
I think Eze starts next week. Yeah, no disrespect to Martinelli, I don't want him starting. He's not in form. His head's down constantly. You know, it should be Madueke and Eze on the wings next weekend for me.
You're saying about like not wanting to use statistics necessarily to override what you were watching. I think it was right for you to say that neither team really laid a glove on each other. But I guess the most interesting statistic out of that lot there though is the touches in the opposition box. Arsenal had almost double the amount that Liverpool did. So if either of the two teams could be looked at as seeing as trying to make the most of the game and trying to break the opposition side down and try and make something happen, you could argue that Arsenal was the team that was trying to do that the most out of the two teams, and it was just down to the fact that it was a 32-yard, 34-yard, whatever it was, absolute wonder strike that separated the two teams in the end. And you know, without that, we're talking about a 0-0 game, and it just being a bit of a.
I don't know. Those touches in the box, I'd like to see how many of those touches were from open play and not from corners.
Harsh.
I had to get it in there, mate. I know, because Rice was taking them all from the wrong side, wasn't he?
Yeah, poor old Rice. Couldn't get it right, didn't we?
No.
Yeah, we took more outswinging corners in that one game, Darren, than we did the whole of last season.
Was it in the one half?
Yeah.
Wow.
We're very much an in-swinging corner team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what was the just explain to me what was the tactical difference? Like, you just didn't have the right taker.
We didn't have a left foot that they trusted to take the corner.
Yeah.
Okay, fair. Cool, because that would normally be Saka, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Normally Saka or Odegaard, and obviously neither of them were on the pitch.
Neither of them available. Yeah. All right, makes sense. Cool. Well, I think Scott hit the nail on the head there. I think it's like, if you've got assets from Liverpool and Arsenal, don't judge them on this game specifically. We've got to be honest about the ambitions of both of these sides, that they should be finishing first, second, third, in and around that kind of picture at the top end of the table. I suspect we will see similar sort of results when Arsenal face City, Liverpool face City, Chelsea face Arsenal. Like we will see similar sort of games, I would imagine, across the season. And these aren't games really that you should be judging your assets on. So yeah, I think it's just one of those games where it could have gone either way. It could have it's gone the way that it's gone, but it could have easily been a 2-2, 3-3, goal fest, and it just
all I'll say on that is that the Arsenal defense is elite. You can have any one of the back five from Arsenal, maybe even double up, and you're almost guaranteed a good stab at a clean sheet almost every game.
Yeah, it's a fair shout.
Yep, very true.
Moving on, Aston Villa, Crystal Palace, 3-0.
This is the game of the weekend. Come on, boys.
Save the best till last, Scott, for you, mate.
Always. Yeah. Well, we got the thing over Villa. I mean, I watched an interview with Glasner beforehand about how we're going to set up and how he knows Emery's going to set up, and just the player matchups are just we just win every battle against them. I think that's 6 in a row against Villa, and comprehensive virtually every time. We beat them 5-0 a few games ago. 3-0 in the cup semi-final. Something else I'll keep rolling out because we are the current FA Cup holders.
Yep.
And then I don't know, from a neutral perspective, I thought it was completely one-sided, this game. Controlled it. Out of possession, we controlled it very solid at the back. And Ismail Assar gets his customary return against Villa, that's now 12 in 7, Darren, I think it is, or 13.
Yeah. 7 goals, 5 assists in 6 games.
Yeah.
It's pretty wild. It's a pretty wild record for an individual against a single team, really, isn't it?
It is. And the most encouraging thing for me is we sold our best player and we still turn up and put a result in like that. Which I was very encouraged by, and the signings we made late on in the window, even more so, because I think we signed a couple of really exciting prospects. And from a Villa perspective, they looked flat again. That's 3 games in a row. They've looked poor. Watkins has started the service. I mean, he got 2 sort of half chances that Henderson dealt with pretty comfortably. They've made some interesting signings, Harvey Elliott and Jadon Sancho, to try and sort of get that number 10 position going, because Tielemans isn't that 10. So he can revert back to his sort of 8 role. But I think Villa, struggled, didn't they? They're the only side not to score in the league, which is very unlike them. Normally very free-flowing and open. But from a Palace perspective, great performance. Well deserved.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Totally agree. I think it's one of those games as well where you get to kind of just sit back and just watch arguably one of the best young sides, like as an average age of the squad, one of the best young sides in the Premier League just do what they do on what has become a more regular basis.
Well, very well coached, aren't they? I mean,
agreed.
You can see the influence. I was thinking during the game, if Oliver Glasner was the Man U manager, they played the same system. Arguably, United have got better individuals. What he could do with proper coaching, which I think Amarin is gonna find out that he's not a proper coach. Glasner's just fantastic. Mark Gay, the situation with him, he scores a wonder goal. His interview afterwards was funny. He said he just hit it because he was so tired. He just hit it. It went in. I mean, I don't want to get too carried away, obviously, because it's not my thing. Because football can bite you in the backside, and next week you go and lose to Sunderland. But very impressed, and long may it continue. That's 14 games unbeaten.
You must be still kind of salivating and dreaming of finishing 11th, though, right?
Well, I wouldn't go as far as saying we're going to finish 11th, but I mean, it brings you back down to what I mean is we sold our best player on the run up to this game. That's Palace. We're still in that sphere. We've won 2 trophies in the last 3 months, but we're still in that. We're still a selling club. We're still selling our best players to the bigger teams. So it always keeps you grounded. You can never get too ahead of yourself. And performances like this just reaffirm that we are a very formidable side. And now we're showing a bit of consistency. I think we're a match for most teams in that league.
Yeah, it's interesting because I think there's a couple of other teams in the Premier League that kind of are a bit like Palace in many ways in terms of, or certainly were at periods of times. And I've known fans of like teams of like Brentford and West Ham and things like that, and it can be a little bit disheartening sometimes to go on these big runs and have these great players or great individuals in your side, but not really like have that kind of excitement about what you're building, because you know that, you know, someone like an Arsenal is going to come in and go, right, Declan, you want to come play Champions League football, and he's off. And I think, you know, similar sort of thing has happened here with Eze, and Brentford have obviously been on the end of it throughout this summer with Visser and Mbermo and Norgard all jumping ship as well. So I get that it's like it's you want to get excited, you want to feel like, oh yeah, we're going to be like top six, we're going to get Europa League and like out of a league finish, we might go deep in the cup again, but actually, yeah, I think the reality of the team that you support is that they sustain themselves by selling their best players consistently.
The game's governed by finance, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, ultimately, you don't survive unless you've got the money. So it's a hard one. Being a Palace fan, being a Fulham fan, a Brighton fan, you want to push on and move into that next level. But when teams are spending like they have been, there's no chance that a club like Palace or Brighton haven't got the resources to spend. You know, you are still a feeder club. You know, you're buying from lower levels. You bring in these players on ultimately to sell them for profit, and that's how you survive. Just soak up the wins and the successes when they come your way. You know, and don't get too carried away, because you know that next week it come and bite you.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, far be it from us to put the content creator's curse on it, but it hasn't bitten you for 14 straight matches. So,
well, it's Sunderland next weekend. Here it comes.
Yeah, yeah. Look, yeah,
we're hearing that Ismail Assar is injured.
Well, we definitely injured in the game, didn't he? He went off with the hammy. He definitely pulled it. His interview after the game, he said he was fine, that he'd be back. He's gone away with Senegal, and they've assessed him and sent him home. But until Palace officially say one, I mean, I think he'll be out for next week. I mean, he definitely pulled something. But until that's made official, then I guess it's just a wait and see.
Okay. Yeah. And Villa assets. Obviously, a lot of people are on the likes of Watkins and Rodgers. What's your thoughts on that? Do you think people should start jumping ship? The fixtures are so good that it doesn't matter if you're not scoring. So I'm in that Watkins camp. I think I maybe at least one more week. I'm going to try and push it for one more week and see what happens.
It's very tempting because
I'm very much have lost patience.
I think it's one of those things that if Villa are playing well and Watkins is getting chances, I think you stick with them because you know those chances are going to be converted at some point. The fact that they're not creating a great deal. I know they've sold some players, and those players that they had on loan for last season had a big impact, and they've had to release them and let them go. But they look poor, really flat. So if you got Rodgers and you got Watkins especially, I'm not sure. I mean, I've got Watkins. I've got bigger issues in my team to sort out, so he might be ignored. But if I had no issues, he would be top of the list, I think, to go. But the fixtures are
there's so much value, isn't there?
Well, he's 9 mil. He's losing value every day almost. I think he's down to 8 now, Watkins. But the fixtures are good. You know, I think you'd be a brave man to ditch him if you've got no other issues in your team, maybe. But
what's Villa's next three?
They got Everton next. Then they got Sunderland. They play basically Sunderland, Burnley in the next three. They got some very, very favourable fixtures.
Yeah, it's nice.
But like Paul said, if they're not firing, then there's not much point. But I always live by the law of averages that eventually it will come good, and you can guarantee the week you ditch him is the week that happens.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I would say that run of three fixtures is very, very tempting. I think Everton, Sunderland, and you said Burnley as well, right?
Yeah, I think in the next 4 games they play those 3. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So that
Fulham as well. Is
Fulham,
in between those.
So I think if you look at the data as well, like all of those sides have been, expected conceded, have been well up there in terms of, the leakier of the teams in the first 3 weeks. Albeit, you could argue that Everton, from a performance perspective, like you might still fancy Everton to win the game, but ultimately that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about Everton maybe winning 3-2 and Ollie Watkins getting 2 goals is what you want, really, isn't it?
That's the dream.
Yeah. All right. Moving into the transfer window. Obviously, we mentioned at the beginning of the episode that the Premier League have spent far and away the most amount of money that the Premier League has ever spent, but also across the top 5 European sides, almost combined actually. So 47% of the entire expenditure of transfers across the top 5 leagues was spent here in the Premier League. Just shy of £3.6 billion was spent over the last 90 days. Pretty incredible amounts of money. I guess the surprise of not just the amount of money that was spent, but who it was being spent by. You think about how Liverpool won the league last year. Like it was almost at a canter towards the end. I think it was 9-10 points clear in the end. But they felt the need to go out and spend nearly £500 million to improve what was already a pretty incredible squad.
Well, that's a sign of intent, isn't it? When you're in that power position, how do you increase that? And they certainly proved they're in a mighty powerful position going out. Because if you remember last season, they didn't spend a penny.
Didn't spend nothing last
they
summer.
brought Kaiser in on loan. On loan was a free. Is it free? He come in?
I think it was loan and then obligation this summer, wasn't it? Because he's still with them now.
Because they didn't spend a penny, and now they've gone out and spent well. I think that the acquisitions they've got in are just make them a very, very strong side. But we all know that football doesn't always work that way.
That's the wonderful thing about it.
Well, because it might unbalance them, right? I mean, look at Salah's output at the start of this season. He looks like he's just there for the assists. Isak coming in, he won't be ready to go. He's had no pre-season or anything like that, so he won't be ready to fire. I mean, buying all these players doesn't necessarily buy you success. As you said, that last season proved the side that Klopp left was good enough, just needed to be tweaked. I'm not sure. I think people are saying that because of the money they spent and the canter they won the league in last season, this is a foregone conclusion, but we all know football doesn't work that way.
No,
I think everyone has equally improved their squads, and like you say, it only takes a couple of injuries to throw your team out, and all of a sudden you're backing on your second string players to come in and do a job. And yeah, I think that's a lot of the time that can be the deciding factors. So it will be interesting to see how it plays out for sure.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned there about Salah's output not drying up. Obviously, three game weeks in, you can't make those kind of aspersions. But obviously, the 2 returns that he does have over the last 3 games have come very, very late in the day. 320 million of that 446 being spent on the forward line. Does that feel like maybe Liverpool are planning for life after Salah, a couple of seasons ahead of time? They can see that his power is dwindling maybe a little bit.
I don't think so. He's a fitness animal. I mean, he's so fit, really looks after himself. I think it's just from an FPL perspective that front line is just going to absorb some of Salah's output. Seasons gone by, he's been the main man. He almost assists his own goals sometimes. His output is that strong. This year, I think he's just been holding that touchline, and he looks like he's there for the assists. He's not really getting in the box for chances and things. And with Isak starting, I think that would be even more obvious. But I think obviously Isak being there will increase Salah's chances of assists, because he's one of the best finishers in world football. I just think Salah couldn't repeat the season he had last year. You know,
It's
14 and
almost
a half
impossible,
mil.
right?
Oh, absolutely impossible. You know,
It's an anomaly last season, the level of performances he was putting in.
crazy. So the output will be shared across that front line, and the first 3 weeks has shown that, and I think that will continue.
Yeah. I think you highlighted there about Isak's potential in this Liverpool side as well. Obviously, I wouldn't expect a start in game week 4, probably not in game week 5 either, which gives Ekatike a bit more time to continue his output as the main striker. When Isak is ready to take that starting spot, because he is going to take that starting spot, I think there's no doubt. I think Ekatike could score back-to-back hat tricks in 4 and 5, and still, see Isak just walk straight into that side. Don't spend 130 million pound on a player for him to not be
the scary thing
player,
is they don't need him. It was almost like a power play, wasn't it? It's almost like a show of intent. They don't need Isak. Ekatike has proven to be fantastic. They've got other players that can play down the middle. I know they lost Nunez and obviously Jota, tragically, but they still got other players that can play that central role. Gakpo can play it. They don't need Isak. It's like just a show of absolute strength from Liverpool.
Yeah. What do you think it would mean though for Ekatike, Gakpo going forward? Is that a split role? Is it a share of minutes?
It'd be early subs, wouldn't it? Yeah. Because you can't see Salah. Well, maybe Salah will lose minutes. Maybe you're right, Darren. Maybe they do see a bit of a waning in his powers. Maybe want to save his legs occasionally, but I can't see him losing a huge amount of minutes if it happens. It's rotation between Ekatike and Gakpo and the forward line. Isak maybe playing 70 minutes and coming off. But I also think that Isak last season was on penalties at Newcastle. He was the focal point. He won't be that at Liverpool. He won't be on penalties. His output will be less than last season too, despite being in a better side. So it's all relative, I think, to the situation that the team you find yourself in.
Yeah, no, that's a fair point. I think it says someone that's backed Ekatike from game week 1. I'm just a little bit concerned that if I want that frontline focal point, I need to try and find £2 million from somewhere.
But in a weird way, I mean, from an FPL perspective, I think both Isak and Ekatike are probably avoids for me. Because like I say about guaranteed minutes, you can't guarantee either of them.
Yeah, that's a good point.
You think in the long term Isak will be the nailed on number 9, but it's like you say, it's going to take a good few weeks. And if Ekatike keeps his form up, then I don't think it's a guarantee that Isak comes straight in. So yeah, it's definitely something again, from an FPL sense, you're going to have to time it right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, once Champions League starts as well, rotation will be pretty big at Liverpool, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
The one other thing that jumped out to me was the spending between Premier League clubs. It was the highest it's ever been at 1.1 billion. And 6 years ago, that was 200 million. So in 6 years to go up to 1.1 billion. So it shows the level of quality that's in the Premier League now, that we're buying between each other and selling between each other.
Is that just between Arsenal and Chelsea?
Quite possibly. Yeah, we've given them a few, Bob, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, there's interesting observation as well, isn't it? Because I guess in years gone by, we would have gone and raided teams like Liverpool and Arsenal would have gone and raided the Real Madrids and the Barcelonas of the world.
You didn't sell to your rivals. You didn't sell to the teams that are in your vicinity, playing for European places. You would never. Newcastle, if they wouldn't usually sell to Liverpool, because they'd go, well, we need to keep him to compete with you.
I think
that shows the power again of the Premier League as a product and the teams within it. We're now doing that. We're now doing that.
Definitely an element of player power playing its part in that Isak deal, though, for sure. There's lots of speculation took place over the summer about him. Let's say throwing his toys out the pram a little bit about not getting the move, and then he made a statement himself saying that this was always the plan, and Newcastle knew that it was always the plan, and they've broken promises. So
exactly. Who do you believe? So, yeah, I think you just have to leave it up.
I don't take anything from those sort of things. I mean, if you're under contract, you're under a contract. You come out and say, well, someone at Newcastle was promised him, but hasn't contracted him to sign that. It's just a promise. It just sounds silly, doesn't it?
I guess so. But then when you look at the Jackson Bayern deal, the Gay Liverpool situation as well. Now Mark Gu from Sunderland, had an opportunity there to probably pick up some decent Premier League minutes, and in each and every single case, for various different reasons, mind, the clubs turned around and gone, well, actually, no, you're not going to get your move now, and that must like really kind of stick in the with regards to the players, like the way that they, I guess, yes, they're under contract, but you still expect like a certain level of respect from your employer to say, particularly in Chelsea and Jackson's case, it was like, yeah, okay, yeah, go on loan to German champions, go and score, a hatful of goals, enjoy your football again, and whatever else. Oh, but wait, no, we've just sold 2 of our strikers, and now one's gone down injured. No, you can't. That deal can't happen anymore. Like that's rubbish. Particularly as the guy was actually in Germany, in Munich, ready to sign the papers.
Still, at that moment in time, he's still a Chelsea player. It's still up to Chelsea whether he signs for Bayern or not. It's not up to Jackson, is it? And I think the Isak thing is wrong. The way he conducted himself is very wrong. And Visser as well, same thing. Because you only got to look at Mark Gahey. I mean, he had a medical at Liverpool and passed it. He done his goodbye video, which got leaked yesterday, saying goodbye to the fans and that, and then he's had it taken off him at the last minute. He's still a Palace player. Nothing was signed. Just because you expect something, it doesn't mean anything because it's contractual. You just have to get up with it and grow up and get on with things. Because if we all refuse to go to work because we were promised something, I mean, it doesn't stand. It just doesn't stand for me.
Yeah, I guess we can look at it 2 different ways, can't we?
Well, I guess you never know what's going on. You never know what has gone on.
You never know what the things truth is. That's why I kind of just read those stories and take them with a complete pinch of salt in all manners.
Yeah, and I get that it's comparing apples to pears. But if any one of us were stopped from taking another job elsewhere because our current employer said that we couldn't, we'd be taking them to court straight away, wouldn't we? Under contract or not, we've signed a salaried deal, essentially, a contract that says, I work for you for this amount of money, but if I can't now go and work for someone else and do the same job, and you're stopping me from doing it,
don't you? I guess that type of stuff happens in business. You buy the contract out.
Yeah.
What that person's worth.
Yeah.
I mean, and in another way of looking at it is that Newcastle have used that contract to their advantage. That they've got an astronomical fee for Isak because they've used the contract as leverage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I suppose
Jackson still got his move. Eventually.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because
Chelsea got more money. So
because some poor kid thought that he was going to the Northeast and he was going to get 90 minutes worth of football week in, week out. Now he's stuck in the reserves.
Yeah, he's back
for another season.
It's warmer down there.
He probably
not that much warmer.
He knew that when he signed his 6-year contract when he left Barcelona.
Yeah. No, I get it. I do. I understand it. It's just it's just. I think like when you look at it from the individual's perspective, when you.
Of course, in an ideal world, we all want it to run smoothly to what we want. Of course,
but you've set an expectation, or an expectation has been set with you that this is how your season's going to play out. You're going to go play for this team, and then it doesn't happen. It's a bit of pill to swallow, I suppose. Right, let's get into deadline day signings, and then we'll wrap this episode up. Some pretty big deals happened across Monday evening. Obviously, Isak is the headline of that. I think we've probably covered that one off for the most part. Scott, you mentioned Villa's deals, Jadon Sancho and Harvey Elliott. I'm quite excited about the Harvey Elliott deal, if I'm honest. I feel like he's definitely one of those players in that Liverpool squad that had they not gone out and spent £500 million, that he would have been, in and around that squad, would have got minutes. Has always been an exciting player when he's come on. Did incredibly well with the England under-21s in the summer tournament as well. Probably player of the tournament, actually. And going into a Villa side that needs a bit of flair and creativity. Your thoughts on that?
No, I picked out three the top deadline day signings, and he's in there. Isak and Visser and Elliott. I think he'll have a huge impact on that Villa team, as we already discussed. They're really flat and have no creation. He'll be the guy. I think he goes straight in, no messing around, straight into that number 10 role. I've read a lot today from Villa fans. Really, really looking forward to him coming in. Yeah, Jadon Sancho, he's got to kickstart his career at some point, and it's a good opportunity for him. They got lots of competition in those wide areas at Villa, though. Huge amount of Marlon and Gessen, and there's a few others. But I think Javier, very exciting. Yeah, absolutely.
So you say like that Elliott's going to drop straight into that number 10 position, and I agree with you, because I've read the same sentiments from Villa fans online across the last 48 hours. What does that mean for Rodgers? Is he going to get pushed out wide?
Wide, yeah. Well, he's been playing wide the start of this season, and they've been playing Tielemans as the 10. There's a clear statement that they need a 10, right? Because that's not Tielemans' game. He's better playing deeper and sort of having more vision of the game. He's not particularly mobile. Yeah, Rodgers will play probably on the right. Guessing they brought in to play on the left mainly, and Elliott through the middle with Ollie.
Nice. Okay. Yeah. Well, let's say looking forward to seeing what he can do. As I say, might certainly standout player, if not the official player of the tournament for the under-21 summer tournament, and looked every bit a Liverpool player whilst doing it as well. And I think getting 90 minutes week in, week out, a side that's got European competition on top as well. They're going to need that squad depth, and he'll get a lot of game time over the next 8-9 months. It's going to be exciting to watch. Paul Kincape.
Yeah, not
a player I know much about. Deadline day, it kind of came out of nowhere a little bit, because he wasn't really. I mean, from my perspective, not a player that was on the transfer radar going into deadline day, and then it just seemed like it was a deal that kind of came out of nowhere a little bit.
Yeah, and I think it's a deal, as a lot of our transfers have been, a deal of opportunity. He wanted to leave Leverkusen. Obviously, he was an invincible with them, so he's coming to join the old Invincibles as well. So that's good to have him aboard.
Still living on that, yeah.
That's all I've got, mate. That's all I've got. Yeah, he's again versatile. Play left back, play left centre back. Again, obviously he's coming in really to replace Kivior, who's gone to Porto. So he will be likely back up for Gabriel. And then I think there's a good possibility again that he'll push Calafiori, Marzu, Scully for that left back spot as well. Very good aerially, considering I think he's about 6 foot tall. So he's aerial duels. He's got very high up on that, and again he loves being aggressive with that South American vibe that he's got going on. And
is he Colombian?
He's Peruvian.
Wow.
I believe. I'm just gonna have to second guess myself. I will double check that just a second, because I've said it and now I'm second guessing it. But yeah, quality player either way. Again, also good progressive pass, which may be good for the old DEFCON points. So I'm not sure if he comes in straight away. I think he'll probably be eased in. So probably not an FPL asset immediately. But we'll see how the season progresses.
Just needs to finish his career at Preston North End, and then he's got the hat trick of invincible teams under his belt then.
That's it. We can all dream.
Yeah. Let's talk about Kevin. Let's
I know nothing about
keep
Kevin.
up with that. Yeah. Keep up with the movie reference that I definitely haven't watched, because I've never heard of it before recording this podcast. But
you got to watch. It's a great film.
It's in Scott's top 5 apparently. So
it's a great film.
I misspoke. He's
Ecuadorian. Okay. Yeah. Thanks for correcting. I'm sure he'll appreciate that when he listens to this.
Yeah, definitely.
Kevin,
Oh, Kevin.
at Fulham, a winger coming in at the West London side. I'm sure he was probably sold that he was another winger going to Chelsea, and then when he turned up, he was like 2 miles down the road. But a good signing for Fulham. It's a statement signing, really. £35 million. They don't splash that kind of cash very often. So yeah. Do you know much? Do either of you guys know much about him as a player?
Paul put him in the slide because he wants to talk about him.
Oh, go on then, Paul. You poster boy.
Again, from an FPL sense, I'd probably not jump on him straight away. He's coming from Shakhtar Donetsk in Ukraine. Obviously, originally come from Brazil, from Palmeiras. Again, one of these youngsters who goes to Ukraine to get decent money and some decent money and play European football. 10 goals in 24 starts last season. No, it was 10 GA, sorry, in 24 starts last season. So again, good feedback. Very direct, typical tricky winger. Reminds me a little bit of Savinho, stylistically, left winger. I think he complements. Obviously, they bought Chukwueze from AC Milan for the right wing, so clearly they felt they needed some depth in the wide areas.
But there was rumours that Harry Wilson was about to leave on deadline. It never went through, but there was a bit of chatter, wasn't there? So clearly, his minutes and that will be hugely reduced now.
So yeah, I think it's just an interesting watch out. Obviously, they haven't spent that amount of money not to play him. So
yeah,
again, he's probably just someone to add to the watch list. I think he's £6 million on FPL. So yeah, just keep an eye out.
And then real quickly, the Vista one to Newcastle.
Yeah.
Obviously, they sold Isak, replaced him with another issue, if you want to call him, refusing to train at Brentford and whatever your take on that is. But he's like a B-Tech version of Isak. Do you think he's going to work there? I mean, not work. I mean, score goals there. I didn't mean work. Like refuse to play.
Yeah,
you'd hope he turns up for work. You'd hope so. He's got the move that he wanted.
Yeah.
Again, stylistically, he's similar to Isak. Obviously, doesn't have probably the level of finishing quality that Isak has. And also, they've spent a lot of money on, I guess, what you'd say is Wilson's replacement in Voltemada. More money than what they've spent on Vissa.
Huge amount of money, yeah.
It'd be interesting to see who has that starting burst. Are they going to play together? I think will be an interesting development for Newcastle. But yeah, I think, again, his goal scoring record for Brentford was pretty good. Again, not massively prolific, but I think he suits them stylistically for sure.
And who's on penalties in that Newcastle team? Do you think?
Don't know.
Bruno?
Fabian Schär?
Fabian Schär, maybe. Yeah.
He loves a penalty.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Anthony Gordon. Honestly, I couldn't tell you. We'd have to ask a Newcastle fan, I'd reckon. Maybe more insight.
I think if you want an indication as to just how crazy transfer prices are, or the money that gets floated around for anyone under the age of kind of 25, 24 or whatever. Again, I spoke about Harvey Elliott's under 21s summer, and Voltemade was definitely spoken about in the same vein. But £80 million for someone that scored, I think it was less than 20 professional goals so far in his career for a striker is crazy money.
Again,
and I get that it's
really his breakthrough season at Stuttgart.
Yeah, which I think was 11 goals. It's just unbelievable amounts of money and I get that they're buying potential and that's how it works over a longer period of time in terms of the contract.
It felt panicked to me. I mean, we've discussed
for sure
the players they've gone in for and lost, and the list is huge. It felt panicked to me that they paid over the odds for a player that has hardly proved himself.
Yeah, no, exactly. I mean that was the thing for me when I went back. So didn't know really much about him outside of the summer tournament.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, did well at Schalke last season, as Paul said, his breakout season. But The Schalke?
Stuttgart.
Sorry. Um,
Edit.
I could tell by your sniggering that I got it wrong. I'm gonna leave it in because vulnerability is the.
Well, we weren't going to
is
correct
the
you
word
either.
today. It's just gonna let me go.
Just let it go.
But breakout season at Stuttgart, great summer tournament with Germany under 21s. But I can't, £80 million for someone that's got less than 20 professional goals is just still absolutely wild to me. Particularly as it's funny because we were talking in our group chat. It's completely unrelated, and we will wrap the episode up in a second. But talking about like what the class of '92 would be worth today, like Zabex and Scholes and all that. Someone like Voltemade and Visser and some of these prices for these players today, when they haven't really actually achieved anything in the game as of yet. You look at players like that, and you think they must be 80, 90, 100 million pound players in today's market for sure.
So very, very quickly then, over the course of the transfer window, Paul, who do you think is going to have the biggest impact FPL wise out of the new players that have come in?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Pick one.
That's a really big one. I'd have liked to have been teed up so I could have prepared an answer,
Mm.
not been completely put on the spot. Because trying to think of,
No one springs to mind.
I just don't want to say one off the cuff.
Is this of deadline of all of
No,
the summer?
just over the window.
I think
some
for me,
players have already played a few games.
I think for me, it's got to be Gyökeres. I think he transforms that Arsenal side. I think he's the finisher that they've needed the last 2 or 3 seasons. I think we'll see how it plays out over this season. But if he's not 20 plus goals by the end of the year, I think you could be pretty disappointed with that. He's looked every part. He's looked every bit the player that they've needed. For me personally,
I think he's looked a bit off it, but hey, what do I know?
Power and presence, mate.
I'll give you my name, Paulie. I think Eze will be the
give me a quick few minutes to think of somebody.
No, I think Eze would be the biggest one. I think he have a huge impact on Arsenal. Egon Gyökeres, I think he will have, because he has Premier League pedigree, doesn't he? Everyone knows what he's about. I think playing with better players at Arsenal is going to just elevate his game even more.
I guess I'll just throw someone up that probably hasn't played. I'm intrigued by how they're going to adapt to the Premier League more than anything. Is Simmons at Spurs?
Mm-hmm.
I think he's someone that they definitely need for their starting 11, and I've always been a big admirer of him from a footballing sense. So yeah, I'll throw his hat in the ring and see how he does.
And he has a bit of Spurs about him, doesn't he? When I think about his style, I think he suits Tottenham very well.
Yeah, he's very direct and very quick, forward thinking type player.
Him and Kudus could be a good double act.
Could be a good duo.
I thought when you said that he's got a bit of the Spurs about him, you were meaning that he dribbles it 75 yards and then blazes it over the bar.
He does that. He does that plenty.
Oh, son.
I mean, there's certain players that you think when clubs sign them, you think, yeah, I can see that. They bought him because he fits a certain style that the clubs are sort of known for, and I think he definitely fits that Tottenham and Koulibaly as well. I think very similar. Will fit into that Spurs team pretty well.
Well, it's funny you should say, because I when we said earlier in the episode about like Palace being a good young squad to watch, and that's basically how they've sustained themselves, by buying good young talent, giving them the minutes, developing them, selling them on. I actually think that Xavi Simons would have been a great Eze replacement. He is the archetypal Palace player in that sense.
All the time Steve Parish is with Palace will be nice and steady and PSR compliant, but we won't be fishing in those ponds that players like that swim in.
Yeah,
unless he leaves.
Xavi Simons would want Champions League football. I think that's...
we would exactly. I mean, we only get players like that on the downward side from their career. We buy potential.
Yeah, maybe missed the boat. Like he was like one or two transfers ago in his career. Maybe you would have picked him up.
I'll say that we signed Jeremy Pino from Villarreal. I think he could have an excellent season for us. He's tricky, not a lot's known about him. I mean, I know Paul likes him quite a bit, and his little cameo that he against Villa the other day was very impressive. So he could be one to watch as well.
Nice. All right. I think we'll wrap it up there. We're just crouching on injury time for this episode. Boys, it's been a pleasure as always talking to you. I really enjoy these little chats every week with you. It's nice. It's therapeutic.
I'm glad you do.
Yeah,
That's heartwarming.
say it less patronizing, and I'll edit it in if you can. Yeah, just like a little bit of gusto next time. It'd be great. Yeah, no, listen, as always, if you've got this far listening to us ramble on, we really appreciate you hitting subscribe, get down in the comments, tell us about the transfers that your teams have made over the summer. You're happy with who you've bought, or who you have, or maybe who you've missed out on, who could have made the difference for you throughout the year. And just let's have a chat. Let's see where these signings end up in 8 or 9 months' time. Will Gyökeres be the player that Arsenal have needed over the last couple of years, or is it going to be the likes of the great unknowns in many cases, or maybe not in Paul's case, but he seems to know Kevin pretty well. But maybe Kevin could have the Premier League season of his life in his debut year. Who knows? We will catch up again next week. We will do game week 4. We'll do potential wildcard conversations. And until then, we will see you next week. See you later.
See you.